best friend shooters, and it's happened again. Another person has said something stupid about GTA 5 on the internet. So I'm going to tell you how they're wrong. Let's get into it. So to give some context, this guy called English Ben makes speedrunning videos on the 3D trilogy of GTA games. He has thousands of hours in them, and openly admits that he doesn't have any real experience in GTA 5, which maybe you shouldn't talk about a game you don't know. So, yeah, let's get into point number 1.
In fact, I believe that Grand Theft Auto 5 is one of the worst Grand Theft Auto titles.
Do you know that GTA 1 and GTA 2 exist? They're top-down games. They are still GTA games. They came out in the 90s, but they're still GTA games, so they still are there. And I'm pretty sure GTA 5 is miles better than them. So, immediately proven wrong.
I haven't poured thousands of hours into mastering this game, so I definitely wouldn't consider myself an expert. However, I have poured that amount of hours into other GTA titles.
I know I went over this, but I just wanted to show you I'm saying it so you know I wasn't just making stuff up.
GTA 5 starts off with the prologue, and it gives you a great introduction as to what you should expect. Spoiler alert, it's nothing like I just described. In fact, I'd argue it's so far detached from what I described that it forgets what made GTA good in the first place.
If you could please tell me what makes GTA good. Bank robbery? Check. Shootout with the police? Check. Escape from the police in a car? Check. What else is there that makes GTA good? Obviously story. Check. Everything in that mission. It is a very good mission. Prologue is the best possible opening mission to the game that I think they could have made. So, I think it's a very good opening mission, is what I'm trying to say here.
GTA has been famous for its non-linear gameplay since its inception over 2 decades ago.
Your overall point is valid, yes, but may I remind you, this is something that takes place 10 years before the story starts. This isn't something that is currently happening. This is events that have already happened. You are playing in the past. Events that happened. What? Of course, you're not going to have much control over what happened because it's the past. Have you ever heard the past is the past? Well, here you go. Here's an example. Use the phrase now. The past is the past. You can't change it, right? So why would you think you'd be able to change it in GTA?
The prologue takes speedrunners just over 6 minutes to complete, and most of this is shared between unskippable cutscenes or fully scripted gameplay sections.
I already explained why it's fully scripted, but the cutscenes are probably unskippable because the entire game doesn't make sense if you skip the cutscenes. If you skip the cutscenes, you don't have a clue what's going on. You don't have a clue who Brad is. You don't have a clue who any of these guys are. You don't know what's going on for the entire game. That's why you can't skip the cutscenes, because then you have no clue what's going on through the entire game or anything that happens in the story. Everything in the story that happens is because of Michael's past come back to haunt him. But if you don't know that past, then you won't understand the story or why any of this is happening, which is very important considering one of the things that makes GTA what it is the story. One of the main things that people love about GTA is the story. That's why people love GTA 4 so much, because it's such a deep story. Think for 2 seconds, play prologue again, and then realise, oh yeah, maybe without everything that happened in prologue, without us being able to see that, we wouldn't know what the hell's happening. If you think for 2 seconds, you would realise that half your points in this video, no, all your points in this video are utterly ridiculous. Think for 2 seconds, please, people of the internet. Before you make a video on GTA 5, please think for 2 seconds.
During this section, if you even attempt to deviate slightly from what the developers want, you will fail. Let's look at some examples. After the first gunfight, you get in a car and start your escape down a long stretch of road. If you go off this road, you fail the mission.
It's been very well documented that Rockstar do not want you to explore North Yankton. If you want to explore it, wait until later in the game. Play through the story a bit until Bury the Hatchet. Then you can explore a bit more. If you want an in-universe explanation, they're gonna get stuck in the snow. Brad says this. You can't leave the path because it's the path that you're meant to take. You can't just say, "No, I think I'm gonna go over here." Imagine you were on a train or on a bus, we'll say on a bus, right? And you're meant to go onto the motorway, right? But instead, he decides he's gonna go another way and go across. He's just not gonna go on the motorway at all. If you're trying to get so let's say you're on a bus, right? You're going to the city centre. What you're gonna be quite annoyed if the bus driver just drives you out to the countryside, aren't you? Think for 2 seconds, people, please.
Next, you pull up to a section where a train is supposedly coming and you must hurry to beat it. You can sit here for as long as you like, the train is never coming.
That's because, and hear me out, the train hits you later. They weren't trying to beat the train as it crossed there, they were trying to beat the train as it crossed where they got hit by the train. Think, please, be logical. Think for 2 seconds. Of course the train's not coming because it's on a different set of tracks as well. The train is on different tracks! Those aren't the same tracks the train is on! Follow the track! Follow the track the train's on. It is a straight line.
Further down the road, there are some scripted cops who pass you. These cops somehow don't know that you are the criminals, but you can fight them if you wish. Only, if you exit the car and try to switch to the police car to blend in, you immediately fail as soon as you exit the car.
That's because that's not what you're meant to do! You're meant to take the car you're in, not switch to a police car to blend in! Why? Because that's not what they did! You're playing in the past! They didn't do that! They took the car and they drove it to the train and they got clapped. That's what happened. Not, oh yeah, I'm gonna get out of the car and I'm gonna go fight the police and I'm gonna take this car. No, you're not! You're gonna stay in the car. You're meant to stay in. Why? Because that's what you're meant to do! You're not meant to switch. Oh yeah, I think I'm just gonna go in that police car. What if if your taxi driver just was driving, right, and you just see a cool sports car beside you, right? Man, your taxi driver just got up and said, "Nah, I'm gonna take that car instead. Have fun." Like, you can't do that. Fine.
At the end of the road is a roadblock, and your peer tells you to take a right turn to avoid it. If you try and ram through the roadblock, you'll fail. And if you take a right turn, but not the exact right turn the developers ask, you'll also fail.
So, they're not saying to go right because there's a roadblock. The plan was to go right anyway. So, here's a bit of the story, by the way. So this covers both points, both him smashing through the roadblock and failing because he didn't take the right or taking the wrong right. Okay, so here's what happened. So basically, the story is that Michael set up a deal with Dave to meet at the specific location where it all goes down, where Brad gets shot, Michael fakes his death, where that all goes down. That's where it was originally planned to be. So that's where they were going to end up anyway. The cops were not a part of the plan, so they were not thought of. But they were going to go right anyway. And the reason that if you go the other right, it's the wrong one is the same reason. That's not where you're meant to be. It is as simple. It's like trying to talk to a defiant toddler. You're not meant to do that. That's as simple as that. You're not meant to do that. You're not meant to end up there. You can't end up in the right location from that right turn you took. That ends in a dead end or a train track. Okay? That's the reason. It is like trying to teach a toddler. You can't do that because you're not meant to. It's as simple as that. It is really as simple as you're not meant to do that. So you can't do that. And it's set in the past. So doing the wrong thing in a mission and it failing you is annoying to you. Not being able to do whatever you want is annoying to you. Do you see what I mean? But it's like talking to a toddler who gets everything he wants. You can't do that because you're not meant to. That's the reason. That's the reason for it. You're whining over nothing. You're failing because you did it wrong. Not because it's not Rockstar's fault that you did the mission wrong. There is a wrong way to play this game, and it is exactly what you have done. You have went the wrong way. You have tried to swap cars. You have tried to do everything the way the game doesn't want you to do, and then whined when it doesn't let you do that. It is like it's like trying to stick a fork in a plug socket. And when whining when you're not allowed to, or trying to fight a police officer, then whining when you get arrested. You're doing it wrong. That's why you're failing, because you're doing it wrong.
Only if you grab the fastest bike and race away as fast as you can, you'll fail the mission because you abandoned Jimmy. This kid is a grown-ass man. Do you really need to make sure his fat ass gets on the bike alright?
The reason you failed is because it only activates the race when Jimmy gets on his bike. That's why it's abandoned him, because you started the race by taking A, the wrong path, and B, before Jimmy got on the bike. So that the race hasn't started. The game doesn't consider the race started until Jimmy gets on the bike. You're cycling the wrong way, and B, far away quickly. You're going to fail for abandoning Jimmy because the race hasn't started yet. The game doesn't consider you to have started the race when you get on the bike. It considers the race to start when Jimmy gets on the bike, not when you get on the bike. You're not the center of attention. You're not always. The world doesn't revolve around you. It starts the race when Jimmy gets on the bike. You then get on the bike, you sprint ahead of Jimmy, get on a bike, the fastest bike, cycle at top speed away from Jimmy before the race starts and expect to not fail the mission. Seriously? You can't, even someone as dumb as you can't put that together? I'm not surprised at this point. I'm genuinely not surprised at this point.
In a lot of missions, even the traffic on the road is scripted.
Because otherwise, stuff like this happens.
Michael finds out that his daughter, Tracy, is hanging out with some porn directors on a nearby boat. So Michael goes to crash the party and rescue her. They aren't happy with the scene you just caused, so they chase you on jet skis with guns. The game tells you to go into a nearby tunnel in order to escape, but in fact you can actually just turn around and shoot them immediately. If you consider all the fail conditions shown before, you'd think that the mission would fail here, right? But it doesn't. It simply has different dialogue to accommodate for your choice.
After this, he said that's a good thing, which it is. But then why were you whining about it a bit at the start of this? I know, I understand consistency is good, but they gave you a choice, and then you say, but it's not consistent with the game. It's not consistent with the game. Like, it's giving you what you want, and then you're like, it's not consistent with what it's done before. What do you mean it's not consistent? You're 5 missions in. What consistency is there? You're 5 missions into the game. What do you mean consistency? There's nothing to be consistent with.
The thing that really bothers me is how damn long it takes before you're actually allowed to roam free and explore. Let's take a look at how much scripted gameplay you have to do in the other games before you're able to explore. Some of these entries have you completing short tutorials or simple missions before you can enter the big scary wide world, but others allow you to free roam almost instantly. Regardless, you're never looking at more than 2 or 3 minutes before you're free to do whatever you like. Even if you are a world record level speedrunner playing as fast as humanly possible, Grand Theft Auto 5 will put you through 10 minutes of unskippable cutscenes and sequences before you are let loose. This is twice the length of all the other games put together. You could play every Grand Theft Auto I just mentioned, have some dinner, fall down the stairs, break your leg, go to the hospital, die from complications, come back to life, and still the intro would not be over. Ridiculous.
That's just because the first 2 missions, if you take them away, you don't understand the story. They need to explain the story to you. And the easiest way to do that and, keep it, consistent is to make you play those missions immediately, because then you don't have to faff around going to Simeon's shop and extra cutscenes and blah 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 blah. Then you're just dragging it out. They did it the most concise way possible to explain the story. That's why they're doing it. That's why you have to play the 2 missions. That's why it takes 10 minutes. It doesn't even take 10 minutes. What are you on? It does not take 10 minutes to complete 2 GTA missions, 2 prologue and Franklin and Lamar. They don't take 10 minutes. They take like 6 minutes, 7 minutes. It's not that long. It doesn't take that long to complete those 2 missions, is what I'm saying. So, I really think you just need to think logically. Use what logic is there. There's also no need to exaggerate it that much. There's no need to be like, you could go downstairs, fall, break your leg, play all the GTA games, have dinner, go to the hospital, die of complications, and you still wouldn't be done. Not only is it wrong, it's not funny. It's an attempt at comedy that fails. You're not funny. That really is not as funny a line you think it is. Trust me, no one finds that funny. We're laughing at you because you're wrong, not because you're funny.
Grand Theft Auto 5 has checkpoints scattered throughout each mission, and allows you to reload a checkpoint if you fail your current objective. This isn't necessarily a bad thing, but they are so plentiful that failure barely matters, as you will lose no more than a minute of progress should you mess something up most of the time. GTA 5 doesn't take away your weapons when you die. It does when you are busted by the police.
So you would rather it be like GTA 4 where you fail once and you have to traverse the entire map and redo the entire mission once again? That is your idea of fun and not tedium? Okay. Good to know. We'll make sure to check in later to see if you're being consistent. Highly doubt you will be though.
But I'm convinced that the only way you will ever get busted is if you do it intentionally, because even with a 1-star wanted level, they will just shoot you on sight.
Well, the footage may not be great. This is some footage I recorded for this video, and you can see I have a 1-star wanted level, and the police do not fire. Instead, they just aim their gun and try and arrest me. It is only when I get a 2-star wanted level that they
Put up a lot in these types of games, especially when you consider how far a developer should take realism before it becomes tedium. In Fallout's hardcore modes, you must eat, sleep, and drink in order to survive. This is realism, but not tedium. If the game also required you to manually breathe and work a 9 till 5 day job to pay the bills, it would then simply not be fun anymore. Grand Theft Auto 5 did a great job of removing tedium from some of the other titles. For example, having to drive all the way across the map to restart the mission you just failed, only to then drive all the way back again for another chance at redemption. However, I think they went too far backwards by incorporating mechanics such as regenerating health, which instantly makes your health irrelevant unless you play like a suicidal maniac. Your money also instantly becomes irrelevant, because as soon as you complete the first heist, you are set for life. You only need to buy guns once and you'll never lose them, so the rest of it you can just spend on whatever crap you like. It simply doesn't matter. This is amplified tenfold if you have the pre-order bonus, which instantly gave me $500,000 right at the start of the game, meaning I didn't even have to complete a heist before this portion of the game was instantly ruined.
I actually agree with them on this one with the pre-order bonus. I do think they shouldn't remove it entirely, but there should be some way to turn it off. And finally, you brought up GTA 4 and, the whole tedium that is playing that game and failing a mission. Because Rockstar says, "How dare you fail a mission? We now must punish you." So, yeah, at least they brought that up, like I mentioned before. Definitely couldn't have mentioned that earlier, but yeah, whatever. At least they mentioned that.
Each character also has a superhuman ability for some reason. The benefit of these abilities is that they make this already insanely easy game a complete joke. Franklin can slow down time as he is driving to make perfect corners at full speed, making it impossible to crash. Michael goes full max pain and goes into bullet time, which makes it impossible to die in shootouts. And Trevor goes into a blood frenzy and becomes completely invincible, which makes it impossible to die in shootout.
Michael's ability does not make it impossible to die in shootouts. You can die easily in shootouts. It's just easier to kill people. Trevor's, on the other hand, yeah, you can't die in shootouts and you do twice as damage. But, are you complaining? That's like so much fun when you master the abilities of, especially Franklin. When you master Franklin's ability, it is so much fun. You can zip around at 200, 300, 400, 500 kilometers an hour and completely be in control. It is so much fun. I think you're just being grumpy here. It is so much fun having special abilities. I love all the special abilities, but my favourite is probably Franklin's. And I hope they incorporate some special abilities, some form of the special ability in GTA 6. I really hope they do. I think he's being being overly negative about it.
Absolute worst offender here, however, is that if you fail a section of a mission too many times, you can simply skip that section and move on via an option on the fail screen. I'd be very interested to hear from anyone that has used this feature unironically, and if it made them feel any sort of accomplishment, knowing they simply had to give up when the going got tough. The first game I ever saw to have this feature was The Simpsons Hit and Run, and I completely understand its use here because the game was made primarily for children. It is logical that children might get stuck in certain parts and just want to continue having fun. GTA 5 is an adults-only title, and while I get that they are trying to make the game more appealing to a casual audience, does anyone out there really think this feature does anything except make people feel rotten that they had to use it? I can't imagine how I'd feel watching the credits knowing I didn't earn that.
Okay, well, I agree with them on the fact about it making the game too easy. He seems to say the only game that does this that he knows of is a children's game, and GTA 5 is an adult's game. But Rockstar know fine well that a massive chunk of GTA fans are children. Rockstar know fine well, especially GTA 5. Rockstar know fine well that they can market it as 18 plus all they want, but Rockstar know fine well that this game gets a massive chunk of players that are children. Rockstar know that, like, 6-year-olds, 7-year-olds, 8-year-olds. Rockstar knows that those make up a massive part of their audience. Of course, they're going to target towards kids a bit more with GTA 5, which is, with the online, a massive. Go on to any online. Oh, sorry. Especially with the online, which is massive amongst children. Go on to the online, and if you can get a lobby where there's people with headsets, just listen to what they're saying. Turn on everyone, right? And just listen to what they're saying. And most of them, I can promise you, most of them will be children. Most of them are going to be like 7 or 8 years old. A massive amount of GTA fans and players are children. every person, every player that plays GTA always says, well, when I was a little boy, I remember getting my mum to go take me down to GameStop, or, yeah, it would have been GameStop, but then it's not allowed. At GameStop and buy all the new GTA and just hope the cashiers ain't convinced her not to. It's not an 18 plus game. It never has been and it never will be. Sure, they can market it as not suitable for children all they want, but for the rest of time, GTA is always going to have a massive chunk of their players being 8-year-olds who buy a bunch of shark cards to get an Oppressor Mark 2. And then there's me, who doesn't play GT Online and plays over 1,062 hours of GTA 5 single player, but that's still the point. Yeah, actually, that's the point. That is the point, actually. So, yeah, a massive chunk of GTA fans are children, and that's something you have to accept. So they're gonna keep making it ever slightly easier and target it more and more towards children. Whether you like it or not, of course, it's still gonna have all the violence and the all the like the punches and the guns and the. It's still got a GTA game. It's gonna have all the violence. It's gonna be like ripping teeth out, you know. But it's still gonna be, at the end of the day, it's not just an adult game. It's not adult only. It has a massive chunk of players that are children. So whether you like it or not, that's the fact, and they're going to start marketing a bit more toward, not marketing, but yeah, kind of towards a general audience, but also it's towards children. Let's be honest. Let's be honest with ourselves. It might be an 18 plus only title, but it's always going to have a massive chunk of its playership being children. So, but yeah, that's really all I have to cover. Yeah, so that's going to be it for today's video. Make sure to like and subscribe. Hit that notification bell if you enjoyed. If you watched all the way to the end, thank you. Why? Why did you do that? Why would you do that? But anyway, make sure to like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time.
You disingenuous, dense motherfucker!